What'd you say? It's 6 o'clock.
Call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Okay, we're going to table the executive session, item number 52 for tonight.
Actually, we'll have to, what we'll do is go through that, and when we go to accept the agenda,
Okay,
Either
that's
one.
when we'll bring it up, right?
we can do it either way.
Okay.
If you don't want to accept it now, get it over with.
Certain. All right, I'll do that. Going to make a motion that we accept tabling item number
52, I believe it is.
It is item number
52.
I'll second that.
You want me to call the roll?
Yes.
Call the roll.
Okay. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Okay.
Y'all have voting buttons?
Not on that.
Okay.
Since if you had done it during that point, we would.
Moment of silence. As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity. Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Ms. Roulette.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, vote to approve or disapprove the December 7th regular board meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes. Item number 5, Dr. Vinson.
Thank you. Okay, so audience, I think, every year we have board recognition, and of course, every year it has special meaning to us because we know that all of our board members up here, they volunteer their time. They're not getting paid for it, and it involves a lot of time, especially for a district our size. But this year, I think it holds even more weight to it. It's even more special because this has been a really, really difficult time. It's been a difficult time for leadership, but it's been especially difficult time for board members. We've had to make decisions no one's ever had to make before. And, not to say that we haven't had much leadership at the state level, but most of these decisions have been pushed to local districts. So school boards all across the state are having to make these tough decisions. But I have to hand it to our board. They have remained steady and calm, and they've made the decisions that are best for every kid in giving our families choice, and especially families that don't have a choice. They are working 2 and 3 jobs, just trying to make ends meet. So the possibility of having especially young children at home all day long without any help is just not feasible. We are thrilled that we're in the position to be able to do that, and it's all because of the support that we receive from our school board. So again, you can see the outpouring from our school sites. It's overwhelming. If you get a chance, look at some of these cards because they're hilarious, but they're also very, very sweet and heartfelt. So with that, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough for the time and heart that you put into this position. So.
Well, no, I would like to thank you for saying that, and it hasn't been an easy year for any of us. So it's the hand we were dealt, and we did the best we could do, and we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I would just like to take time to, also recognize, I appreciate us getting recognized, but you know what? The administration, the staff, the students, honestly, that's what makes it worth, everything that we do, because, it is one thing that, I pride myself on is being able to give back to, the district, back to my community and stuff like that, but also just, knowing that, I graduated, my kids graduated from here, and it's such a legacy that we can leave. And that's something that, just looking at the passion that each one of you guys bring to the table and stuff is remarkable in itself, and it is a calling that you guys do have. And to be able to deliver that day in and day out, I'm grateful for it, and I'm honored to be able to just be on this board, for the time that I have. And so I accept the gratitude, but I also want to give it back as well too, to just say thanks for such a great district and, the leadership. I every day, and then, coming and seeing these pictures and just the little, the writings and stuff like that, God, it just touches your heart. It melts my heart. So, these are the days when you look at this stuff and you're like, all right, that's why we do it, So it's all worth it.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you for all the stuff that you do and the kind words that were said. But, I feel it's a true partnership with all you guys doing this. And we serve the right purpose in making sure that these kids have every possibility to succeed. And, it's a joint effort, and the trust that we have in the administration, the faculty, the teachers, the overall, just the school district as a whole, all the employees that put forth the effort every day to make sure that we continue to go to school and have in-class instruction is just, we're a step ahead. Yes, it's been difficult, but we're getting it done, and we're doing it successfully, and we continue to do that. But we don't do it all alone. We do it as a group, and we take the challenges head on, and we've done that this year. And thank you guys for doing what you guys do, because it makes it nice to come up here and trust what you're saying to us and give us some guidance on the decisions that we're making for the school district. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Got a good board right now.
Yes, we do.
We've challenged each other. That's for
Amen.
sure.
So,
Well, I'll just say the same. We've said that this year was hard, and absolutely has been, lots of sleepless nights. But when I've only been on here 2 years, in the first year, I just rode all these high waves because we gave teachers this huge raise. I thought, man, this gig is awesome. I just get to, and then this year came, and of course it's challenging, but like everyone said, it's a team, and we do it together, and I love it. Thank you.
Okay, item number 6, Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Vincent and everybody. On behalf of Highland Park, we want to personally thank each of you for serving. We appreciate you so much, and I know everybody else feels the same, but we get the opportunity to tell you in person tonight because we're here, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're very excited at Highland Park to have a big contribution tonight from our PTA. I'll introduce who's here, and then I'll let our PTA board members speak on behalf of what they're here to do tonight. First of all, this is my assistant principal, Leanne Fry. We have Kristen Whitman, Melissa Thompson, and Nikki Birdwell in the back, wouldn't come up. But I would like for them to share with you what they're presenting. So, Kristen?
Hi, good evening. I'm Kristen Whitman. Like she said, I'm the Highland Park PTA president. And over multi-year fundraising efforts, we've actually been able to raise an additional $15,000 on top of all of our other fundraising efforts that we've done. And we are taking this and basically coming to you guys to just tell you we're giving this donation just to help us fund a new track for Highland Park. We, especially with everything that's going on with COVID and how important it is to be outside, this track is just going to be vital for Highland Park. So we're coming to you guys just kind of in good faith just to say, here is our donation for the partial payment for the track, and we're hoping that you guys can help us make that dream a reality. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Ms. Birdwell, looks like you're going to have a more to do.
Well, and I do have to say thank you, because I know you could do amazing things with $15,000, but knowing that you've dedicated to having a track there is huge. We wish that, you know, in the perfect world, we'd have tracks at every school and we'd be able to build anything we wanted. But the reality is that we're in a 12-year bond issue, and we're right in the middle, and so we can't add those extra frills that we didn't foresee several years ago. So thank you. You're helping to make it happen, and you can rest assured that you're leaving a legacy at Highland Park that will be enjoyed for a lot of years. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, make a motion to accept.
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. Item number 7,
Thank you all
comments.
very much. Thank you. It's
Thank you
great.
very much, yes. Comments from the public, we don't have any, I don't believe.
No, we don't.
Item number 8, Bob, Mr. Talameo.
Good evening, Dr. Vinson, Board of Education. I'm here to give the quarterly construction update. Maybe.
There it is.
So completed 2015 bond projects. Phase 1 has been complete. We are a little bit into phase 2 with Rosewood, Childers Middle School, and the baseball entry plaza are all complete. And under construction, we have Vanguard Academy, which is STEM and VOAG bond projects. Oliver Middle School kicked off over winter break, and baseball softball bleacher replacement is ongoing. Under programming, we have the field house renovations, and here are the bleacher replacements. I'm going to thank Ms. Hill. She got this picture in last minute for me. Over the weekend, they started setting the steel out there. They already have a vast majority of the softball bleachers set all the way up to the canopy, and the baseball bleachers, you can start to see them take shape. So it's making pretty good progress. We have some brick going on up and some drainage. I don't know if you've ever walked out there. It's pretty marshy, so we're adding some additional drainage. It'll all go underneath the bleachers where we're doing like a rip-wrap stone, so it'll be able to drain and pond under the bleachers rather than where pedestrians walk. STEM Innovation Academy. These pictures do not do this building justice. At the top, you can see the rendering, and at the bottom, that's where we were last week. The site is about 80 acres out behind Casey's. And this is the back part of this building, and that opens up to, we're calling it in construction, we're calling it a promenade, and that's a big cantilever building, and underneath it, it'll be additional space where they can go outside and work on projects under covering. And this is kind of that same view looking back. Over to the right, you'll eventually see some greenhouses. I try to pair up the rendering with the current state. And here is the maker space, and then this is what it looks like today. You can see the learning stairs have really started to take shape. And I'm gonna, again, geek out. Yes, I like that word. These walls, I know they just look like windows, but they actually fold up into each other and open up. So if they need to bring out large, say they're working on catapults and they need to bring out large catapults, but then it's going to rain, they can bring those back into the building. But then it just gives you the open air space to do other things. These are really cool.
And
Yeah.
it looks like, does that open up right into the covered area?
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
That opens up to that yellow part.
Right.
Is
right.
that covered area underneath that promenade. So it'll be 2 communities long. So it's another 8 classrooms worth of space underneath that canopy, if you will.
We've already started dreaming about what kind of events we can have there at night by just opening that up and have open air. It's going to be amazing.
It'll be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's the big canopy, the promenade, if you will, underneath. And then this is the second floor going back to the balcony. And then these are the barns. There's 3 separate barns. One's for pigs, one's for goats and sheep, and one's for cows and a show barn.
So this is a lot bigger than the one they have now.
Oh,
It is
About 4
going to be a
times.
lot nicer. They're actually talking about being able to graze the cattle like they should.
Oh, really?
And what that'll actually do is it will actually eventually, if they get enough cattle out there, cut down on our mowing expenses.
Because
So-
currently the
Bring
barn
'em
that
over
they
to my
have
house.
has very few indoor stall spaces. There's
yeah, it's
like
small.
almost all the swine, they have to keep them outside in those pens with heating lamps, and
Extremely, yeah.
there's not really a lot of grazable land at all. So with 80 acres, that's a lot of pasture land.
That's cool.
A lot of fertilizer.
A lot.
That too.
Yes. Oliver Middle School, we are going to add
There you
classrooms
go.
out there. In the front,
Revenue
we're going to add a
generating.
media center.
Myself.
We're going to redo the Oliver Memorial area, similar to what we did at Childers. We're going to enlarge their orchestra room, and then we're going to renovate their classrooms, their media center into classrooms.
And just as a side note, we brought Dr. Oliver's daughter in to help us as we were looking at ways to reimagine that
Really?
dedication space. So
cool.
it
That's
should
cool.
be very nice.
Here's the media center. It'll, of course, contain media center stacks, but we'll have a lot of furniture similar to what we did at Childers, yet a little bit different because each school needs their own identity. The office area, we're going to secure that front office a little bit better, and then we're going to enlarge the nurse area. This nurses area is probably the smallest one we have in the whole district. So we're going to make them quite a bit larger. And then this is what the media center will turn into 6 classrooms, and then we're going to reclaim some circulation through that area as well. And we have a nice temporary wall built right where the old Gateway classroom was located.
And this will be completed by when?
August.
Anyone who's ever been in the Oliver Media Center, it's served us well over time, but it's not the prettiest. And there's really no light at all in there. So being able to put on the front of the building, that's just huge.
Yep.
And we desperately need that extra space for our Gateway to Technology classes. So
Mhm.
this is great.
Yeah, the Gateway to Technology classroom will be remade similar to the what we did at the Freshman Academy in Sequoia. So it'll have that same 2-concept classroom design where they have their computer labs in the clean area, and then they'll have their CNC machine, their laser engraver, and their messy work area in the other side.
Cool.
And it is full windows between the 2 classrooms, so they can utilize those 2 spaces simultaneously.
Very good.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you,
Nice.
guys.
Thank you, Bob.
Very nice.
Okay, item number 9, Ms. Brassfield.
Good evening. So I am going to present on a Lifelines update that we have. Broken Arrow Counseling Department held a parent meeting for Lifelines, and just do the bottom? Right, okay, perfect. We had a parent session, and we briefly went over Lifeline's curriculum that we use in all of our sites. Parents walked away with some practical tips on how to build resilience in their children and learn some effective coping skills. So, why do we teach Lifelines and have these parent meetings? Sometimes people wonder why suicide prevention should be the responsibility of the school. After all, it's a mental health problem. But with youth spending the majority of their time in school, and it's our responsibility to have a safe school environment. So we feel like it's very important. But the best reason is we give parents some training, and with that training, it increases parents' knowledge and increases their comfort with the topic so they can effectively communicate with their children. So Christy Sturgeon is here today, and she did our parent training and did a phenomenal job. We had some really great responses back. So I wanted to recognize her and tell her thank you, and you'll hear about some upcoming sessions that we're going to have in just a little bit. But she started off with a parenting session that was kind of comical, kind of like ease the tension, because it's a very tough talking point. So she really helped to make that ease and made the parents feel comfortable then to go into some breakout sessions. So another great reason is Oklahoma is 16th in the nation for suicide, and it's the second leading cause of death among 15 and 24-year-olds. So we feel like we have that responsibility. So Christy is going to go over our next two. Do you want to click it or if you can? Okay, that'd be great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come and visit with you about this topic, because it is extremely important to counselors in the school district. I am a counselor at the high school, have been in the district for a long time, so this is a very valuable topic of discussion. So Mrs. Brassfield talks with you today about the why, and I want to talk with you a little bit about the what and the how. The Lifelines curriculum has been adopted by the district, and it serves several purposes. It gives us language to use to frame the discussion around suicide and allows us to have open conversations with our students, their parents, and our staff about a very tough subject. I hear people say all the time that we need to be careful because we don't want to encourage suicide by talking about it. But if we don't start talking about it and give our students the ability to have a voice and to express their thoughts and feelings, this is where I think we create the danger. This program has 3 components. A faculty, if you want to go ahead and skip on to the next one, thank you. It has 3 components: a faculty and staff training, a parent training, and student curriculum. At all secondary levels, we started with the staff training that focused on recognizing risk factors and warning signs that someone is contemplating suicide, as well as how to address a student that they are concerned about and ensure that that student gets the help that they need. The parent training also focused on recognizing these risk factors and warning signs, but as well as that, focused on how to build resilience in their children, how to help them walk through tough times without trying to fix it for their child. The student curriculum consists of specially designed lessons that teach students at differing levels of awareness how to understand suicide, how to help their friends or themselves when they see that that friend is struggling or when they start to feel that they're struggling themselves, and how to access resources for help. At the high school level, as students work towards transitioning to college, career, and vocational schools, we all know that that transition can be extremely difficult for students, especially when it doesn't go the way they want it to. And so this curriculum directly addresses how students can work through that if things don't go as they planned or as they hoped. As far as the logistics, students started with a pre-test to assess their knowledge and comfort with the topic. Lessons are presented in a variety of ways. For example, at the high school, students are receiving the lessons through their advisory classes, but at the middle schools, it may be an advisory or maybe even through their English classes or something like that, depending on the site. Once the lessons are given, students will take a post-test to determine if there's been any growth in comfort level and knowledge. It is our firm hope that students will not only know more, but that they will be more comfortable in knowing that our schools and our staff are safe places for them to talk about what they are feeling and to seek out help when they need it most. The last piece is on crisis and safety planning, and I'm going to turn that back over to Ms. Brasfield to talk about.
Okay, so we met this year with counselors, our social workers, admin, Derek Blackburn, Jeff Martin, a whole group of people, and we created a re-entry plan and a safety plan. The re-entry plan is when a student is coming back into our school setting. They could have been at Positive Changes or Parkside or just suspended for a long period of time. And it has recommended interventions for the staff as well as some interventions for our parents at home. The safety plan is created with the parent and also with the student because it has great questions like, who can I talk to if I need help? What are some things I can do to help myself? So both plans have a review portion of it. So we don't just give a plan and walk away. So we make sure that we check up with the student, we check up with the staff, we check up with the parent to make sure that it's being successful. Our free assessment is not new, but it offers parents a number of places they can take their child for to be screened at no cost. There's 8 or 10 on our list, and I know there's some more as well. We also have the iPads that COPES donated this year, which is a new program, and I've heard feedback from COPES that it's going very well. So the counselor can get a direct supervisor from COPES and do a suicide screening with the child right then. So very powerful. So we're also going to have some additional parent education nights. We picked February and May, and so we have a committee going right now to say what should be on those topics. We want to do additional SEL items and also teach them what their kids are learning at the same time. So that way they can have those open conversations. So any questions?
No.
I want to say, I mean, I am so happy to see that, I mean, you all are taking something like this that's kind of like talking about the elephant in the room, but it can be such a critical piece to certain families. Because, I mean, some people, I mean, personally, we've had, I know several years ago, a child that, a friend of my son's that right before graduation took his own life. And you know, people tend to want to just kind of not talk about those things, and it can be so critical because if you can get that individual to just pause for that moment, you can make a difference. And so I'm happy to see that we're actually doing something like this and actually bringing this. And the parent education is such a huge piece, so that is really exciting. I mean, this is really a good comprehensive plan, and so I look forward to this really kind of making a difference. And you know, it can happen to anyone, and you don't want to be so naive to not think, hey, it can be as close to my home. So thank you.
And I think right now with COVID and all of the isolation, it's even more important than ever. So
Yes.
thank you.
We just sent out a workshop to our counselors for that Lifelines is having, that someone's speaking on just for distance learning and
That's
for
good.
COVID. So it's a 1 hour and about 15-minute training. And so we'll watch that.
You know, I can't compliment both of you enough. We've had this issue for years, and we've tried to, it seems like we've tried so many times to find things to address it, but it seems like we really have the key now. And I love that you're involving the suspensions, because we know that when a kid is suspended for a long time, they are so at risk, and they don't see a way out of that trouble. So that's huge. Of course, I love the parent involvement, because I'm a parent too. You would think I would know how to talk to my own children about those things, but it's very, very difficult. And lastly, the student lessons, huge, because the kids hear it first. And unless they know what to say and what to do, oftentimes it goes unnoticed until it's too late. So I just can't, and I want to say the PTA was so complimentary of you, Ms. Sturgeon. They just said, oh my gosh, she was amazing, and it was such a good session. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good thing you're doing. Okay, item number 10, Ms. Welborn, graduation update.
Good evening, Dr. Vinson, members of the board. You should have a survey in front of you to follow along with. But as you know, last year, with all the difficulties surrounding COVID-19 and all of the uncertainty, we decided to shift and hold our graduation ceremony at Memorial Stadium for the first time. And I don't know that I have a date. It's been a really, really long time. We received a lot of positive feedback from that. One of the phrases I continue to hear from our students at the high school is that some of our best memories are made on that campus, particularly at the stadium. Why not finish out our time at the stadium? So they had a wonderful time. We were, of course, so thankful we were able to hold it for them. It was really a great night for everyone. And, because we're dealing with some of those same uncertainties this year, and we do want to get a date out to our families so that they can start planning, we sent a survey out. We want to know, overall, what is your preferred venue? And if we're dealing with capacity restrictions, what is your preferred venue? So we could kind of get a feel for both situations. And as you can see, overall, 62.3% of the parents of seniors, senior students, and some community members prefer Memorial Stadium overall. We did make sure that they understood that that's an 8-ticket at full capacity per graduate or 4 tickets at half capacity. We have no idea what that's going to look like in May yet, but just so they could understand exactly what that means if it were to happen at the stadium. Of course, if restrictions are still in place in the spring, they overwhelmingly, it was 80.8% prefer Memorial Stadium. So that gave us sort of the information we needed to make a decision to go ahead and move forward with hosting graduation on our own turf this year again. I'm really excited about that. It was quite an undertaking last year. Just, anytime you have a well-oiled machine at a certain venue, it's a lot easier to just cut and paste. But it was well worth it. It was a great night. The kids were happy. The parents were happy. We were all happy. I really can't complain. I mean, they made it out. Once they get out and get seated, and they did. So we're really excited again to have it there.
I think we were all happy too.
Yeah, that was a cool, and that's one
that
thing
was
too.
pretty
I
awesome.
think just having it at our own turf, it really resonates some of that, just closing out your year, your senior year, finalizing your time there. And, last year was amazing, in my opinion.
was.
And so I think it's cool that we're having it there. We may have some, restrictions on capacity and stuff, but even then, I'm pleased that, even the parents and everybody recognize that, okay, yeah, we may have some restrictions, but it's still where we want to have it. So that's cool.
Now, last year we had it in June?
Yes, so it'll be a little cooler, hopefully.
Yeah, I was surprised. It was nice.
Just
that
as
night.
dry, hopefully.
Well, I remember last year you looked really tired.
I was tired.
And I can't overemphasize that Christian is by and large the one that pulled that off.
Yes.
She has a team around her, but boy, did she did a lot of work, and it was amazing thanks to her work.
You.
It's worth it for the kids, and
was
it
cool.
really is.
You did a great job
Thank
last year. If
you.
it's half as good as last year, it's going to be awesome.
Well, no pressure, right?
No pressure.
So we're looking at May 20th. I looked at some of the schools down south, and what they do is they'll do a date, and then they'll do a rain date the next day, and then the next day. So if you have family in town, there's more of a chance that they'll be able to make that ceremony. So that's the plan.
So is May 20th a Thursday?
Yes, it is. The 20th is a Thursday. So that's the tentative plan at this moment. We will get that out to families so they can start planning. And I can't emphasize enough how significant Broken Arrow High School is to our students. I think that's a great part of why it's so special there. For our student council graduates last year, I did a keychain for them with the coordinates of the student union. And I mean, because that place, that campus is so important and so special to our students. So I think that's evident by all the people that bring their families back here. So I'm really excited. I'm glad that it turned out this way. I mean, we're just happy to make it happen. So
I think it'll be fantastic.
Yep, very cool.
if you have
Thank
any,
you for your work on this.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, let's see, general consent, items number 12 through 35.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. Voting button.
Hang on. They're coming. There you go. Oh, whoops, oh well. I have it written down.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Item number 36, Ms. Kearns.
Good evening. Number 36 is two parts. First, I bring before you a revision to policy 1230. This would change the time frame in which we ask patrons to sign up for public comment before a board meeting. It currently stands at 5 minutes. We don't feel like that really adequately provides time to relay the needed information to the board without delaying the start time of the board meeting or causing confusion. So we would like to change that from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. The second item is a newly RFR created policy. It is number 5245. The COVID-related leave that was provided by the federal government actually expired December 31st, 2020 to public entities. It was actually extended into March for private industries, and that was mainly due to tax reasons, and we are a tax-free organization, so I'm not sure that we were, it was intentional to leave out public entities, but that's the verbiage. So surrounding districts have all come together and have been talking through this. The majority of districts in Oklahoma will be extending this leave. Broken Arrow certainly wants to extend this leave. It does not provide more hours than the original 80 hours, but it extends that 80-hour protection to anyone who has not used COVID leave. And we know cases are continuing to soar at this point, so we felt that it was fair and reasonable to extend this to June 30th of 2021. So because of the time sensitivity of that, we do ask that you vote on that tonight for approval.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. Item number 37, Ms. Birdwell.
Good evening, Dr. Vincent, members of the board. I have a couple fun things tonight. You saw those great pictures from Bob and his construction project photos, and you know, quite honestly, he's finished in elementary and he's about to finish STEM and Vanguard, so I think it's time to give him another one, right? So with me tonight, I have Russ Peavy in the back of the room. He is here with Flint Co., and I ask for your approval tonight to hire Flint Co. as the construction manager for the Events Center project. This project, we will actually sell the bonds for it in 2022 when we sell our next round of bond issues. So we'd like to bring the construction manager and the architect on early so that we can have that facility designed and ready to bid when we sell those bonds. And to pay for the architect and construction manager until that time, we'll use some funds in our current bond issue that we have gained through interest and finishing projects under budget.
Okay, any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. Item number 38, Ms. Birdwell again, I assume?
Yep.
Yep.
And so our next item then is for the architectural services. So we would like to hire WRA architects. Jeff Miller and Mitch Fuqua are in the back of the room with us tonight to represent that firm, and we'd like to ask for your approval for them for the Event Center.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes, thank you. Item number 39, Ms. Bergwell again.
Now, this one is one that is fun as well and near and dear to my heart, something that we have been trying to work on for the last couple of years to bring internships to the district. You know, you've heard the instructional department do that through the Pathways program, and we as a maintenance department would like to do that and be able to offer internships to kids. But it's taken quite a bit of research and red tape to figure out how to make that happen. And I am proud to say that we've got some maintenance staff here tonight that don't normally come to board meetings, so I want to recognize them. But they have figured out how to bring internships to the district through our maintenance department, thanks to Mr. Roger Shepard, our maintenance director, and James Warren, one of our HVAC techs, and James Butler, our senior HVAC lead. So with that, what this means is that James Warren has agreed to basically sign over his contractor's license to the district. The district, with your approval tonight of the mechanical and plumbing affidavit, will take on the financial responsibility for the bonds that Mr. Warren would normally have to carry to operate under that contractor's license, and that will allow him to take on internships where those kids or employees of our district that need hours towards their journeyman's license, he can take them on as apprentices so that they can gain those hours towards that journeyman license. So Mr. Warren has agreed to do that, and Mr. Randy Few, our plumber, has agreed to do that. He couldn't be here tonight because I think he's at the Chili Bowl, maybe racing some cars.
I know we talked earlier, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I think that's a great program. Appreciate that.
I agree. Anything we can do to, you know, anything for career readiness, college readiness, or life readiness. I mean, hats off to you guys for really stepping up and doing that. Just absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Anything else?
All right.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 40, Mr. Talameo.
Good evening. I'm here to seek your approval to accept the bids for the plumbing contract at Oliver Middle School and to decrease Key Construction's GMP. Last board meeting, you guys approved the bids, and we had said that we wanted you guys to reject the plumbing bid. We only received one, and that we did not think it was, we thought it was overpriced. So we did go out to bid, and we ended up saving roughly $70,000. So we are
Very nice.
decreasing that contract by $69,698.
That's cool.
Impressive. Very
Any
nice.
questions?
Good decision. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. Item number 41, Ms. Hennis.
Good evening, Dr. Vincent, members of the board. I am here to get approval to purchase some materials for curriculum and assessment from Scholastic. So with RSA funds, that's the Reading Sufficiency Act funds, we, back in last spring, I reached out to the State Department and asked permission to carry over our funds from last year. And so we did that, and I held on to that just in case they didn't fully fund RSA this year, but we did get our allotment for this year, so that was exciting. So I need to, it enabled us to be able to give every teacher the assessment kit that we require, which right now they share assessment kits. And so with that part of the quote, I'll be spending $92,373.75 on those assessment kits. Then also we have a book that goes with our guided reading program. It's called Next Step Forward in Guided Reading. And right now we have some teachers that have it and some that don't. And I just would like every classroom, kindergarten through 5th grade, to have that. So that, to make sure that everyone has that, that will be an additional $1,819. And then a new program that they have added to go with that guided reading is a phonics. Right now we do bear spelling or word study that is what we use right now. And so Words Their Way is what we use right now. But this program is specifically designed to partner with what we do for guided reading. And so I would like for every pre-K through 5th grade classroom to have those. And so that will be an additional $7,018.20 to make up that entire cost of $107,283.61.
Ms. Dennis, I'm going to compliment you because I think one of the most frustrating things for teachers is when we ask them to do something and we don't give them all the equipment to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we've had over 10 years, 12, 15 years of budget cuts and underfunded mandates or unfunded mandates, and for us to be able to save a year so that we can give them the tools is huge. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
So this is a quote from Scholastic. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yes.
Is there any other quotes did you get, or did you already say that? Or?
So
That's
Scholastic
our
is
existing vendor that we were already using, so
Okay.
we're just adding to it so that every teacher has the tools needed.
Okay.
So over the last 3 years, we've been purchasing small chunks of it because it is costly and having people share. And so this is another silver lining of COVID, that it is now allowing us to be able to purchase where every teacher, kindergarten through 5th, would have their own assessment kit and they won't have to share.
Okay.
Nice.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 42, Miss Eniff.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Vinson. We'll go through the slides as always, but kind of want to give an update to the board on where we are on some funding. It's kind of ironic that we're celebrating Board Appreciation Month during the month of January when we receive our midterm allocation from the state. It is really easy being a board member when we have tons of money and things are good and we can say yes to everything. But as a board, you all have had to make some very difficult decisions financially, and for that, we very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'll just kind of start with where we started the school year with our initial allocation. And that kind of gives a false narrative, if you will, on what our funding picture might look like for the school year. We started out this year about $83 down per weighted student. And so initially for us, that was about $2.5 million. And I don't say that lightly because $2.5 million is a lot of money. But we all knew with COVID and with state revenue going down and just the nature of our environment right now that we would be expecting quite a significant hit. And so today we were notified that the midterm allocation for public education K-12 was an additional $200 decrease.
Decrease?
Correct.
Thought I heard you right.
So what that means for us is where we ended last year in June of 2020 to where we are this year, Broken Arrow has been reduced $7.4 million.
Lot.
And so it doesn't take a lot of math, you know, I'm an English teacher, but it doesn't take a lot of math to figure out that, okay, so we got our COVID CARES money, $6.7 million, but we have a decrease in 7.4. So we don't even have enough money from our COVID funds to make up for the loss, yet we still have the expenditures from COVID. So let's just say we have a scheduled conversation with one of our federal legislators tomorrow morning to discuss this.
So that's almost a 9.5%, 10% overall reduction to our operating budget. The concerning part is, we don't know if this is the tip of the iceberg. There have been years, I just know recently that we continue to receive reductions even before June 30th arrives, and that just depends on, again, state revenue, the cash flow that's coming into the state, and the Board of Equalization if the State Department is going to be able to make their budget. So we don't know at this point if the $7.4 million is actually the final number that we'll land on come June 30th, but that is the latest information that we received today. Just for your reference, the State Department did post every single district's information on their website, so you can see kind of the gains and losses across the state. And there is a big shift of money to our virtual charter schools. Between Epic Blended and Epic One-on-One, I think they gained about $155 million. And meanwhile, the K-12 schools collectively lost, I think, a little over $130 million.
And so you couple that with how much money did Epic receive in CARES money, approximately?
I don't know.
I think it was close to $11 million. And I want to point out that their mode of delivery changed not one single bit.
Correct.
During COVID.
That's correct. And our COVID expenses this year, you'll be able to see when we get to our general fund expenditures. In our consumable line item for expenses, it's gone up about $1 million. And granted, we did open a new school, and so, our expenses for Rosewood are accounted within that figure, but we're upwards of $300,000 in PPE and all of the other precautions that we have put in place so we can have in-person instruction, which as a district, we have made that priority, and as a board, you have set that goal for us, and that's something we take very seriously and to heart, but it does have a dollar figure behind it.
And we're very proud of that. We're proud that we've given our families choices, but the reality is it costs more money to be open during COVID. And that's a choice we made, and I admire that the board made that difficult decision. But that is our reality, is we have spent more money than districts that have not, that have been in distance learning.
So that very first column you see with our state aid reduction, you'll next month when our payments start being reduced, you'll see the disparity of what we received last year versus this year. And again, when I was doing these initial projections for Dr. Vinson and U.S. board members, I was estimating somewhere between $4 and $5 million. I wasn't quite prepared for the $7.4 million figure. That's significant. The other alarming thing that you have to start thinking about is the teacher pay raises that were put in place 3 years ago. Are those raises sustainable for districts who are continuing to be cut? Dr. Vinson spoke about unfunded mandates, and we certainly do not want those raises to be part of unfunded mandates because it's not sustainable.
And we also know the reality is that this funding slump is going to be around for at least another year to 2 years for us. So we were counting on some of that CARES money to carry over to next year so we could lean on it, but it's gone, just filling the gap now.
Yeah.
And that is one-time money, and so anytime we receive one-time money like that, we have to be very strategic with how we use it, because any salary that we commit as a district, we're locked into. And so, it's just kind of it's a puzzle of, making sure that we're using the right money in the right places, but.
I also want to point out that we get criticized oftentimes in public schools for carrying fund balances. This is why we do it. Because if we didn't, then guess what? We wouldn't have any money. We might not be able to make payroll. So that's why we carry a funding balance. It's not just so that we have padding. It's for emergencies like this.
The second column that's very important to us that it is information that we're waiting on just within the coming week is our ad valorem information. That will really help kind of cement our cash flow projection for the rest of the year with our ending fund balance, and we'll be able to kind of figure out With the stimulus money, the state or the federal government has allowed that to be carried over into 2023. So just figuring out how we want to use that for cash into the district over the next really 2 years. Building fund, again, ad valorem will be very important to this fund. Some of the other state sources that go into this fund are the flexible benefit allowance that we use to pay our employees' health and benefits. And again, child nutrition, I just can't emphasize enough how hard hit they've been hit by the pandemic. I think that paints a pretty accurate picture of how their fund has had to absorb COVID and the changes necessary. Luckily, we still have federal resources coming in to support their operations, but they have had to be very strategic in their spending and their resources because we just don't have the local money coming in. May I answer any questions about our midterm adjustment or the budget?
I don't have any.
Well, and Ms.
Afraid to
Enif, I want to
ask.
compliment you and your team because
Well-
school finance is not a fun place to be right now. It's just
No.
not. But you all come in every single day and you're working your tails off trying to figure out ways to use our funds in the best way we can. And it's just, it's kind of bleak.
Yeah.
We need another part-time job. That's what you do in your home budget is you get another job, but we can't do that, so.
I appreciate it, Dr. Vinson, and
Yeah,
again,
thank you very much.
it's with the support of the board, having to make the difficult decisions. Like I said, it's really easy to be in leadership when we have a lot of money and we can say yes to everything. But our leadership has provided critical decisions on helping us sustain this. And I fully believe that we will weather this as we've weathered every other budget cut that we've had over the last 10, 12 years. I was talking to Mr. Foreman today. He's working on a press release for us, but it's really been a roller coaster of cuts.
Yeah.
Way back to 02, 03, when I was still a student in K-12, and it's just been every time that we seem to be able to build up any momentum with the teacher pay raises, then we're hit with something else that kind of knocks us down. But
And I want to reassure, especially our school sites and our classroom teachers, that we'll continue to have the priority be the classroom and do everything we can to make sure it doesn't affect students in ways that we can prevent. So we know that classroom teacher and what happens inside those walls is the most important thing we do.
so hopefully next month I'll be able to provide some good news with our ad valorem dollars and how that's going to stabilize us and have some more information for y'all.
Well, we'll stay hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tolomeo did his part by saving almost
$70,000. We'll throw that in the 7.4 that we're down.
Every penny.
Yeah.
Okay, item number, is that all, Ms. Ena? Item number 43 is Ms. Enoff again.
Yes, I'd like to ask the board to approve the resolution of determining the maturities and setting a date and place for our sale of bonds of $30 million taxable general obligation combined purpose bonds and designating bond counsel for this issuance. This will be need to be a special board meeting at noon so we can do it when the markets are open and hopefully get a lot of good bids and a low interest rate on our bond issuance. And so the possible dates that our financial advisor has given us is February 23rd, 24th, or 25th, or March 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Those are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays of each respective week.
So that was 23rd, 24th, 25th, and then 2nd,
3rd and 4th.
3rd, and 4th, okay.
And again, that would be a noon special board meeting for that sale.
Okay, any date sound good to you guys?
I can do any date but Wednesday, so I could do Tuesday or Thursday.
So the 23rd or 25th, or the 2nd or the 4th?
Yes.
Actually, I'm open on, I mean, I'm pretty open on all those days, so I mean, whatever's convenient for others.
I am too.
Okay, what day do you suggest, Ms. Enif, then?
Well,
Other
the sooner the better. The sooner we do it, the sooner we get our funds.
So February
February
23rd.
23rd it is.
February 23rd, good with everybody?
Yeah,
Very good.
Okay,
let's do that.
need a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we select February 23rd for I'll just put the
Special
date
meeting.
as February 23rd for selling of the bonds.
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes, and you'll send out a reminder, I'm sure.
Yep,
Okay.
I will.
Item number 44, Ms. Enif again.
Yes, the next two items are just housekeeping items for our sanctioned organization. This item is to approve the transfer of funds from track and field sub-account to the approved sanctioned organization of $313.70. This is just to finish and zero out the account.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette. Yes. Mr. Majors.
Yes. Item number 45, Ms. Enif.
This item is to approve the transfer of funds to football in the amount of $780.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. And item number 6, Ms. Enif again.
This item is to ask the board to approve the transfer of $70,000 to our arbitrage rebate fund from the general fund. We have been in conversation with our financial advisor, Hilltop Securities, who performs the calculation rebate on all of our bond funds. And we were identified at the end of last fiscal year that we had a potential liability due to the IRS. And so we asked the board at that time to reestablish the fund so we could set aside the liability as required by our generally accepted accounting principles. And so as the payment date gets closer to the IRS, which is May 31st, 2021, it looks like we do need to go ahead and set aside a little bit more money to pay that liability. And this is for our 2016 general obligation bonds. The reason for the rebate is because basically we made too much interest on those funds than what the IRS allows, and we're required to make payment back to them. The positive part for us is when you guys approved the sale of $30 million of bonds, we are selling those taxable now, and it is not subject to arbitrage calculation.
Good.
That's good.
Okay.
Now, what do you want their money, don't
All right.
they? Item, okay.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Majors.
Yes. Item number 47, Ms. Dullahan.
Good evening. I'm here to give the treasurer's reports effective the end of December. Our cash balances report shows a total of $41 million.
I'm about to say, whoa. Bob took it.
I woke you up, didn't I? $41 million in assets. Included in this figure are district investments, which total $32,240,000. Our collateral report shows a total of $23,161,000 in collateral that's pledged to the district. Our deposits that require collateral total $13,126,000, leaving an available balance of collateral in the amount of $10,036,000.
Okay. Any questions, anybody? Item number 48, Ms. Dullahan again.
In the activity funds, as of December 31st, receipts total $1,967,000. Disbursements total $1,684,000, leaving a cash balance in our activity funds of $4,276,000.
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 49, Miss Enif again, I understand.
Good evening. I ask the board to approve the ratification of change order reports in the amount of a decrease of $9,764.58.
All right. Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette? Yes. Mr. Majors?
Yes. Item number 50.
I ask the board to approve the encumbrance orders for all funds, general, building, child nutrition, and our bond funds in the amount of $473,263.14.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes. Item 51, new business. We have none, and we've tabled item 52, so 53 falls in line with that.
Yep.
Need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes. See y'all later. Easy peasy.
Do we have any signature things? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, y'all got a whole stack of business out there.